Hi Dollar Divas, welcome to Behind the Vanity. I'm Jessica. So today I'm gonna kind of do a chatty get ready with me. I kind of want to talk about sitcoms and all that kind of good stuff. So we're just gonna play with some makeup. I do have a new palette that I'm diving into along with products from my makeup basket. And so yeah, we're gonna get this look and just play and just talk about some stuff. So if that sounds good to you, you are definitely in the right place. So first of all, welcome back to all my returning subscribers or Dollar Divas. You know, I always appreciate when you come back and join me and watch another one of my videos. It is so much appreciated. And to anyone that's new to my channel, I sure do hope that you will stick around, subscribe, and maybe even hit that bell notification. That way you're always notified when an upload goes up. If you want to see how I got this look and talk about sitcoms and TV shows and all that good stuff, definitely keep on watching. Okay, so eyebrows are done, and I just used kind of the usual products that I've been using lately. It is what is in my current makeup basket: my LA Colors Brow Cream Gel in dark brown, of course my L'Oreal Infallible to clean up my brows, and I am wearing my primers that are in my makeup basket. So now we're gonna get started in on the eyes. And I did a recent get ready with me using my makeup basket products, and I used the NYX Ultimate Utopia palette, which is in my makeup basket, and it's gigantic and has so many beautiful colors. So we're gonna be using that today, but we're also gonna be using something else that I'm really excited about. My friend Ebony here on YouTube made me buy this. I'll have her channel linked down below. But she has like the best taste in eyeshadow, and she bought this several months back, and I just thought it was so pretty. And I've been wanting to dabble more into like duochromes and multichromes, but things are always out of stock. I can never like narrow down what I want, and I don't want to buy too much. So I just went ahead and bought this palette that she had. It's by Copacetic Cosmetics, and it's called the Companion Palette. This is what it looks like. This is an indie brand, which of course I'm new to indie brands in general. And it has all of these, this is basically different types of toppers and fun stuff like that. So these are kind of meant to be worn like over different eyeshadows. So I thought that this was a really good way to kind of start and to kind of experiment with eyeshadows that I already have. So we're gonna be using this today along with the NYX Ultimate Utopia palette. So I just did a little bit of a swatch of one of those. See how beautiful that is? See, it's like a beautiful topper shade. That's actually this shade down here on the bottom. So I'm gonna start by kind of going all over with just this really light shade right here, and we will go from there. So far I'm kind of liking my new mirror setup. I did recently film like a beginner-friendly like eyelash tutorial, and it worked really well. And I also have done a get ready with me since I've added my mirror here, and then I've got a mirror here, and I kind of find that I use both, which I did not expect. So that's a nice thing. So I do feel I'm in a little bit of a better situation now with filming my makeup application, which is good. And you are not imagining things. My headband and my earrings do match. My earrings I bought a few months ago at Route 21. And then this headband actually came in a set of 4 that I recently got the other day at Marshall's. And so I am matchy-matchy today. I just think they're both so pretty. So I just went with it. Okay, so that didn't do a whole lot. I did just want to lay down a little bit of a base. So I'm gonna go like into my crease and all over my lid with this shade right here. And I'm just kind of playing today. I always jump, like I skip eyes, like I'll do I'll do both like at the same time. So I don't really know why, but I'm like totally wanting to talk about like sitcoms today. I don't know, it's just like, it's like a mood I'm in. I guess I just kind of feel like, well, I guess, I'm sure a lot of you can relate. I don't watch a lot of like primetime television. So when we do watch like shows, like actual shows, we watch a lot of Netflix and Amazon Prime, that kind of thing. Cause I'm just not a huge primetime TV. There's just not a lot of shows on primetime television that I really like. There's, you know, I like Modern Family and that kind of thing, but I don't know, I feel like a lot of sitcoms just kind of lack what sitcoms used to have. And it took me like a while to figure out like why sitcoms aren't the same as they used to be. And it's that they don't really have a live audience the way they used to. And that's not even just since COVID, that's just in the last several years. It's like they've changed format. I mean, now there are some that kind of still film in that live audience type of a scenario, I guess, but I guess I just miss them kind of all being that way. I feel like that was like the heyday of sitcoms. I mean, it was a big span of time, obviously. And I feel like we've just recently come out of that in the last 10 years or so. 10, maybe even a little bit more than that. I'm gonna take a little bit of that pink there on the top. It's very similar to the other one. The other one's a little bit more maybe salmony, or maybe a little bit more peachy, I guess you could say. And I really couldn't decide, so I'm just gonna kind of use them both. I'm gonna kind of put that a little bit more towards like the inner part of my eye and more on the lid. And like I said, I am just playing today. Okay, don't know if that made a big difference. So now I want something kind of smokier on the outside, and then I want to play with that couple of those shades. I think I'm gonna kind of use like a charcoal shade that is in here to kind of smoke it out a little bit. I'm gonna start with that shade right there. It is kind of like a charcoal. I'm just gonna really blend that in, take it to like the middle of my lid. So yes, back to sitcoms. So I was, you know, born in the 80s, grew up kind of more so in the 90s, really is kind of when I grew up. I don't really consider myself like an 80s child or anything like that because I was still young in the 80s. So I really feel like I was like a 90s kid, you know. That was when I was really cognizant of everything. But yes, probably my favorite sitcom when I was growing up was, I liked a couple. There were some that I watched kind of intermittent, like Saved by the Bell, and I liked Punky Brewster when it was on. And probably like my second favorite was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which, you know, they just recently brought back and I have not seen it. I don't know if it was just like a one episode thing or what the deal was, but my heart aches that Uncle Phil isn't there, you know what I mean? The original Uncle Phil. I just loved that dynamic between him and Will. So that saddens me. Like in some ways I kind of feel like you can't do it if you don't have like such a pivotal character, you know? But that's just me. I just feel like they had such a dynamic. It's like Uncle Phil and Carlton were like, for me, like they had the most with Will, like those relationships are just precious, I think, but funny and just all that good stuff. But I loved Fresh Prince. So that was definitely one of my favorites that I watched the most. But my absolute favorite, and if you're about my age, you probably feel the same way, was Full House. And I've seen every episode, you know, kind of over and over again when I was a kid. Now I know they brought back a few years ago, they had that Fuller House on Netflix, and I planned on watching it. I really was like very excited, but I never did. I never did. I still like want to, like now that I know it's just 2 seasons, I do want to kind of watch it. But I wasn't like, honestly, kind of lost interest when Michelle wasn't going to be in it, when the Olsen twins weren't going to take part. Because I think Michelle, again, was they're all important characters, but you need Michelle. Okay, I'm going to start going in with some of these colors and then kind of go from there. So this shade here and this shade here are very similar, and you can't tell on camera, it's wanting to wash out completely. But the one that's in the middle row has a little bit more of like a pinkish sheen, and then the one down below has a little bit more of a green sheen. So like I said, I'm gonna play a little bit. What I'm gonna first do is take some of this pink shade right here. Like I said, my camera is just acting up. I wanna see what happens if I kind of pop this kind of in the middle part of the lid and towards the inner part. Not a whole lot, but it did kind of richen it up a little bit. These are very smooth. Like I said, I'm wanting to dive a little bit more into the indie makeup, but I'm also trying not to buy too much makeup at the same time. But I just know indie brands are very, very hot right now, and you get better customer service a lot of times than you do some of the bigger companies. So I'm just gonna take my finger just because I do feel that that's the best. And I'm gonna take the shade here on the bottom. They have names on the back and they're like girl names. Like actually that shade there is called Jessica. So that's that one that I showed you. It has like that green sheen to it. That is really pretty. Like I said, I don't have a look planned just because I've never used a product like this before, like with toppers. So it's like not only do you have to think of like an underlook, but like an overlook. So I'm gonna have to practice a little bit more, but like I said, we're just playing today and talking sitcoms. This is the shade Olivia right here, and I'm gonna put it on a kind of a precision brush, and I am just gonna go ahead and spray it. I totally should have waited until I put my concealer on, but I can always go in and touch up. I'm just a little excited. So yeah, so anyway, so I'm a huge Full House fan, but I did not partake in the new version. It doesn't mean that I won't, but I did read Jodie Sweetin's book. If you don't know, she's the middle sister. I read her book like a couple years ago, and she had been through it. And I knew like 10 or 15 years ago she had some problems and some drug problems and all that kind of thing, but I can't really remember if it started happening towards the end of the show. I can't remember. It's been a little while since I read it, but she really kind of lived a hard life, and it's just got that typical, child star. She got out of it, which is wonderful, and just very unscathed. She seems to be happy, all that kind of stuff, but man, she went through it. That it could have ended way different for her, and just then you have Candace Cameron Bure that's just like on the total polar opposite, you know, you just never know. And I guess, you know, the Olsen twins have done pretty good for themselves. And from what I understand, like, they didn't want to be a part of it because they don't view themselves as actresses. And I mean, it makes sense. I mean, they were just kids. Their parents put them in the show and then they were done, you know, and then they made a bunch of movies and now they've got other interests. They're not really actors. They never anticipated being actors. They just became popular kind of, I guess, as people, you know, and they have all this clothing line that's like this fashion thing that's worth like $1 billion, you know, and they have other interests. They grew up to be people that don't want what their parents not push them. That's not really what they intended for themselves. So now they have their own intentions, their own desires. So I get it. And they're probably really busy, I'm sure. I mean, you don't earn $1 billion and not be busy. You know what I mean? I'm sure, you know, we all think you just lay on a beach when you have $1 billion, but there's a reason you have $1 billion. So I am not done with the eyes yet. I am gonna put on some liner in my lashes and then do the rest of my face and then revisit the eyes and see what I want to add, because I do want a little bit more drama. So I am using the Wet n Wild Breakup Proof Liner, and this may be the last time. This has been like one of my favorite liquid liners that I've used, but my little brush is starting to fray. So I think this may be the last time if I can use it at all. I haven't been doing too many winged eye looks lately, and it's like I can't talk and do it at the same time. So then another thing about Fuller House, from what I understand, is they had some extra characters. You know, like they all live in this house, and I don't really know the exact premise, but I know they're on the same set, which I do love that. Because, you know, I think the set of a sitcom is a character in and of itself. One of my favorite sets, like sitcom sets, is King of Queens. Gosh, and aren't they both just like terrible people? Like in the best way. Like sometimes I'm like that's another one of my favorite sitcoms. That's kind of more one of my, like, when I got to be an adult, like a sitcom that probably was one, like my favorite. That and Everybody Loves Raymond. But yeah, King of Queens, you know, it's like every episode I'm like, it's him, he's horrible. And then it's like, no, it's her, she's horrible. And you just kind of realize they're both just kind of horrible, but they're lovable horrible. You know, they're imperfect people, and they just, you know, I love their little dynamic. I mean, they're just, I guess, like everybody. But yeah, like I said, I mean horrible in like the best way. But I love that sitcom. But that's one of my favorite like sitcom sets. I think the kitchen is so cozy, and I love like their little bedroom, like where their bed is, and I think she has like a little vanity. I just think it's so cute. I love how Everybody Loves Raymond and King of Queens are connected. You know, sometimes Doug will come as the IPS guy and vice versa. You'll see them make cameos. They live in like the same neighborhood and all that kind of stuff, which I love. I think that's great. And I know there's a lot of sitcoms that have done that over the years. So I'm just gonna put some mascara for under my eyelashes. I've got some eyelashes that are on like their last leg as well. So yeah, going back to Full House. So yeah, you know, so I guess, you know, they have some new characters because they've all grown up and there's new kids, and, you know, I like the idea that, you know, that they've grown up and they have like their own lives and kids, but in a lot of ways, I don't care to have a new character. You know, like I want the old characters. Like, you know, in some way, I want them to have just all lived in that house and nothing has changed. You know, I guess that's my biggest problem with like a reboot, is that I don't want anything to have changed. I would have loved to have seen like Michelle on it because she was such a young kid still when the show ended. It'd be interesting to see them grown, because like I never see them like anywhere anymore. You know what I mean? Since they've become like adults. But yeah, I'm not really interested in new characters. Now I could be totally wrong about that, you know? And I do understand why they have new characters. And then I think, who was it? I might be wrong, you guys might know. Was it John Stamos that had to take like a little bit of a break from the show for something? I might be wrong, might be like a DUI or some that, I can't remember, but I feel like he had to take a break from the show, or I'm trying to think if it was someone else. It may have been Lori Loughlin. I know Lori Loughlin had started, I think some of her stuff started while they were still filming. I might be wrong about that as well. So, you know, it's just, I don't know. Like I said, I will probably watch it at some point, but I lost interest in the idea of it very fast. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on my lashes off camera and I'll be right back. Okay, lashes are on. Not dry, but on. Just did a video, kind of a beginner-friendly kind of lash tutorial. I'll have it linked down below if you're interested, because I very often don't do my lashes on camera. So I did record a separate video on that if you're interested in that. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the face, and then we're gonna come back to the eyes. I'm gonna let this kind of gel for a minute. and kind of see where it needs to go from there. Like I said, I'm so new to a product like this, but I'm so excited to experiment more. So for the face, I'm trying to use this up. It's the Hey Honey Trick and Treat CC Active Moisturizing Cream. And I do tend to mix it with a highlighter just to kind of luminize it a little bit. I'm using a luminizing primer. This just looks makes my skin look really bad, especially in pictures. But I hate to throw it away, so that's just how I am. So I'm gonna mix it with this NARS Orgasm Illuminator, and this may be my last use. I might have to actually cut it open today. If not today, then next time. Kind of going back to the sitcom reboot thing, I feel that way about King of Queens now that Jerry Stiller is passed. You can't bring back King of Queens without Jerry Stiller. Can't do it without the dad. It's out of the question. They've lost their opportunity. It's too late. You can't. However, I had the weirdest thing happen. I literally remember Jerry Stiller dying like 5 years ago, and he died last year. Like when they announced that he died last year sometime, I literally was like, that's a joke. Like he died literally like 5 years ago. Like I remembered him dying. I remember saying this thing about the reboot thing like 4 years ago. Like to like my husband, like, oh, they can't bring it back because Jerry Stiller's dead. And I literally didn't believe that he had just died last year. I was like, no. Ben Stiller's tricking us. He's tricking us. He's been dead for, Jerry's been dead for a while. But I guess not. I mean, I don't know what I'm remembering. I don't know if what I'm remembering is maybe Gene Wilder dying, and I'm confusing their wives. What is it? Ava Gardner, and there's a similar name. Jerry Stiller, his wife has a different name, but similar. That might be what confused me. I don't know. It's the same thing when Gene Wilder died. I thought he had been dead for a while. And then of course, like you have the Golden Girls, which like, I mean, does anybody like not love the Golden Girls? I think everybody, and I just feel like they're like really cool. Like they're cooler than they've ever been. They're just, and I kind of feel you could bring that back. With Betty White still being alive and being so popular, just having a complete resurgence in like her 70-year career. Like her career literally spans like 7 decades, which is, I think Frank Sinatra was like the same way when he died. Like a 7-decade career. I don't even want to live 7 decades. Like seriously, like that's a long time to work. But I feel like you could bring it back with Betty White, and then you would just have to cast the other 3 women brilliantly. And I don't know if you'd want to go younger and cast like younger versions of the ladies or make them older. I don't exactly know what decade that show is filmed in. I don't know the time span of that. But anyway, yeah, I think you could cast that, like recast that show and bring it back. So like, let's kind of think of like who could be in all those roles. God, it's tough. So like, let's start with Dorothy. Like who could be Dorothy? Could it be cast with like SNL women? That could be a way you go about it. Okay, bronzer. Gonna just try to finish up this Hannah Lie bronzer. Blanche, since she's not doing the Sex and the City reboot, okay, perfect. You cast Blanche as being with Kim Cattrall. So Kim Cattrall is Blanche. I think she's the perfect age, and yeah, so Kim Cattrall would be Blanche. And then let's see, like for Dorothy, I wonder if you could do like a Kathy Bates for Dorothy. Kathy Bates, I mean, she can act and like do anything, but I don't think that's right. I'm kind of thinking of someone a little bit more, like maybe Carol Burnett. Drop some of your suggestions down below. Who would you recast as the Golden Girls? Along with Betty White. Betty White would have to play someone too that is like, she knows these 4 women and they're literally just like her and her friends were. So she would be like a neighbor or something like that. So we'd have to recast Rose as well, because it would be like a cameo. Betty White would play a different character, which would be part of the charm. So we'd have to cast Rose too. I want to have Drew Barrymore. So I'm going to pop a little bit of this blush onto my cheeks, this mess of a blush. It's just never going to go away, but it is really pretty. It's still good. It's really great for the stage. It's nice and bright. So for under my eyes, I'm gonna use this Wet n Wild Illuminati concealer. It's good. I don't love it. I wish it was a little bit lighter. I wish like there was like a lighter shade. I know if there was one, I would have picked it up, but this was the lightest. This was either the only shade I could find or the lightest shade I could find. So it is in my makeup basket and we're just gonna work with it. So apparently another thing I'd always heard is that, in real life, John Stamos and Lori Loughlin, never dated in real life. And apparently it's just because they were never single at the same time. It just never worked out. And, and perhaps he dodged a bullet. Well, and he just recently had a baby for the first time. He recently got married and had his first child in, I think, his 50s. I mean, which I think Steve Martin kind of beats him. I think Steve Martin had his first and only child in his 70s. I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure he never had kids until within the last 10 years or something like that. But yeah, so I mean, I think that's really cool, so I'm sure John did very well. And obviously dodged a bullet. So I'm gonna apply some highlighter, and again, trying to use up this Benefit High Beam, but I'm really enjoying it. I've enjoyed showing it some love, and that's why I do this makeup basket. That's the whole point, that's the magic, that's the beauty. It's to just rediscover things you once loved, that you purchased and have just completely been forgotten about. Other sitcoms that I really liked when I was a kid, I think it was on Nickelodeon. Me and my brother really liked this sitcom called My Brother and Me, but literally I don't think they made more than 5 episodes. I don't remember it being on very long, but we loved it. And then me and my mom used to watch another sitcom, and I don't think it was on for very long either, but it's called My Wife and Kids. And it had, I think, Damon Wayans. Then it had an actress that has been in many things. I can't think of her name, but she was, I think, in The Little Shop of Horrors and a bunch of stuff, and that was the mom. And then I don't remember the kids or anything, but it was super funny. So I'm gonna kind of set this down a little bit. I think I'm gonna set this down with the Joa Selfie Ready banana powder, and I'm gonna just kind of, I think, bake a little bit under my eyes. I'm also gonna do this thing kind of right here. I'm gonna kind of cut under my jaw. I liked when I did this last time. Oh, and then how can we forget The Nanny? How many of y'all loved The Nanny? I think at the time, we all kind of had a love-hate relationship with with Fran Drescher, that laugh and everything. I think it was just it was annoying, but it was very, very endearing. And if she hasn't aged absolutely beautifully, and she's just seems like the type of woman I want to sit and drink wine with her. I don't know if she drinks wine, but I would love to sit and drink wine with Fran Drescher. But yeah, The Nanny was always really fun. Apparently when I was a kid, I didn't really watch these sitcoms very much. I guess because I was a child, and it was just at a time I was watching other sitcoms that were kind of a little bit made more for kids. I don't know. But apparently when I was little, we went to California or wherever these shows are filmed. I guess it was California. And I was in the audience, the studio audience for Who's the Boss and Married with Children. I don't remember it, but apparently I was. I would love to do something like that, as an adult. Be in the studio audience. And now I know it's not really a thing, but a couple years ago, that was something I really wanted to do. Or a few years ago even. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the eyes and just kind of play around a little bit more. Yeah, these are pretty much on their last leg, but they're honestly the best ones that I have left in my makeup basket, which is good, using stuff up, showing stuff love, so it gets used and our money is not wasted. I'm just gonna take a really flat, kind of compact brush. I'm gonna go back into that pink shade, which is named Robin. These are really smooth. I mean, look at how that pigmented that is. I mean, gosh, man, I'm afraid to spray it, but I'm going to. I'm gonna put a little bit more of this kind of on the inner half of my lid. I mean, these shades are just so rich and buttery and just, gosh, man, I can't wait to play with this more. I've had it for about a week and I should have given it more attention practicing for this video, but it is not the last you'll see. This will probably end up in every makeup basket because kind of necessary. Sometimes you just want to switch around your shadows, you know what I mean? And these are, like I said, all kind of toppers and fun things, to put on top of your shadows. I'm gonna use a kind of a smaller version of that kind of a brush, and I'm gonna go back into the shade Jessica. I just can't get this palette to focus on camera. I'm right in front of a window and the sun certain times of the year comes through, and then some days it's sunny, some days it's cloudy, some days I have to shut my shades. And so I'm always having to readjust the light in this room. So things just change. Ooh, that goes on definitely that much better with being sprayed on a brush. It's just so pretty. I'm pretty much obsessed. Like I said, my friend Ebony has just such awesome taste in eyeshadow. I knew I would love it. I knew. I want to shop her collection, seriously. I might just smoke out the outside part just a little bit and kind of be done, I guess. Other than lining underneath and all that good stuff. I'm gonna go back into the shade that I used as an inner corner highlight and kind of just brighten it up a bit. So it's the shade Olivia right here. Just just gonna drag a little of the excess up because I don't want to waste any of this shadow. It's so pretty. Also gonna line my waterline. Then we're gonna line underneath with eyeshadow. So to line underneath, I'm actually gonna use this purple shade right here. And I might mix it with that kind of slate charcoal shade that I put on the outer part of my eye just to kind of mute it down just a little bit. So comment down below what are some of your favorite sitcoms. Past, present, doesn't matter. I know there are some good ones. Like I said, I know Modern Family, even though they just stopped filming and everything. That's a really nice one. The Goldbergs is really fun. We've been watching that new one, Cat's Cafe. I think it's what it's called, or Cat, or something like that. Really cute, got Mayim Bialik, and apparently it's based off of actually a British comedy that we really like, which makes really good sense because it's called Miranda, and it's this actress Miranda Hart, which is she's just this lovable, goofy girl, and pronouncing her name wrong, but Mayim Bialik is just a perfect, she couldn't have been cast more perfectly. Like, it's unbelievable. But yeah, the British version is called Miranda, and it's similar. It's very similar, like the girl owns like a toy store or something like that versus like a cat cafe. But just, you know, goofy and just funny and just really cute. So we've been watching a couple episodes of that, and I think that's done in front of a live audience. If not, then it seems like it is. It's that same kind of format, which I love. Of course, you know, you've got like Big Bang Theory, which is a favorite, and you know, we all hate that went away. I guess there's a lot of people that don't like it. Not everybody's into the geek thing, but I think it's really cute. I think it's a really cute show. And then for my lips, I'm just gonna do the same lip look I did in a recent video. I'm just gonna use my Jordana Easy Liner, Plush Plum, and the Shut Miss A Diamond Lip Gloss. This is in Glam. I didn't really put a lot of lip products in this makeup basket. I normally put a lot. So I hope you enjoyed this chatty get ready with me and watch me experiment and dabble with a new palette and just kind of make a mess. But I do hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, show me you did by hitting that like button. Of course, don't forget to subscribe. I will have my Get Ready With Me playlist linked down below, as well as my makeup basket playlist as well linked down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.